Well, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I wanted to say that it could be that somebody owes Tesla and Elon Musk an apology. Now, a while ago, Elon said that he and Tesla were going to be donating a bunch of ventilators in order to help take care of the COVID-19 victims. And I thought, wow, there goes Elon. He is making sure that Tesla stays in the news, which is great. And don't get me wrong, I'm not really cynical about it. In the same way that he was looking to help the kids that were caught in the cave, I think, yeah, it's a positive thing. So I was interested, and I guess I just was on the lookout for any future bits of information with respect to it. So eventually, I saw an article that was saying that basically the ventilators that Elon provided to the hospitals, they weren't really ventilators, and they were like breathing assistants or how would you say, sleep apnea devices, and they weren't really ventilators. And I thought, whoa, okay. I kind of felt for Elon because I really respect the fact that he's put his money and his life on where his mouth is in order to do the things that he thinks would help humanity. I mean, aside from a charity, between SpaceX and Tesla and Solar City, these are the things that we need to do in order to help the planet change, help us change the path that we have the planet going on. So I really wasn't too happy to see an article like that was kind of saying that he either didn't know what he was talking about, he put his foot in his mouth, or he couldn't deliver what he said that he was going to deliver. So I really didn't want to see something like that, but the facts were the facts. You promised a bunch of ventilators, and what you're delivering are not ventilators. It's supposed to help people with breathing, but I've never heard of these things, sleep apnea devices. Are they going to really work? So I just felt that inward pain about Elon, and I figured, okay, well, he'll redeem himself sooner or later. These ventilators, real ventilators apparently cost like $50,000. Now Tesla is working on quote unquote real ventilators. So that's true. That's separate and apart from what was actually donated. But, I just thought, hey, well, I hope it doesn't lower him in people's eyes. Anyway, that should have been the end of it. But as it turned out, I had also seen articles saying that ventilators were not really helping people that they were hooked up to. I was seeing that they had done some studies, or a study, and they realized that half of the people maybe had died eventually on ventilators. A small amount of them had actually recovered and gone home, and a number of them at the end of the amount of time that they were studying were still on the ventilators, like weeks apparently. So apparently it wasn't really doing them that such a great service. Now, I also realized, and I didn't know this, I don't know if anybody does, but apparently ventilators are traumatizing to be on. People who have been on them for any extended period of time, they normally induce a coma, or they have you under some kind of where you're basically knocked out. And the reason for that is that imagine having a pump pumping air into your lungs. Apparently it's really uncomfortable to have this tube that's all the way down your throat and into your lungs. I don't know, 10-inch tube is what I seem to remember. Beyond that, apparently having air forced into your lungs is not a pleasant thing. So between those two things, they tend to keep people sedated, and they might be traumatized from the experience, and they might have lung damage and all this other stuff. So I was also following that study, and when I saw more information on it, I happened to read this article, and they were saying that information that had come out of China was that because apparently there is no apparently the US wasn't didn't have as much information, or wasn't keeping or collecting, or whatever way of saying it, information on how, well, I guess different techniques that might work with these COVID patients. But anyway, what came out of China was that the blood oxygen level is what our doctors and the medical community uses to determine whether somebody should be on a ventilator. Once it's below a certain point, they want to get people on ventilators as soon as possible. And the thing was that when they tested the blood oxygen level of some people with the disease, they were shocked that their blood oxygen level was so low that these people should have been passed out or dead, according to what they understood. So apparently COVID-19 was acting in a way that contradicted everything that they knew. And furthermore, these people, their hearts were not racing, they were not like gasping for breath, they certainly were not, normal, but they were stable, and some of the side effects of such a low blood oxygen level, they weren't demonstrating them. And when they checked again, what they realized is that the carbon dioxide in their blood was low as well. So that was actually getting, out of their lungs. So what they were suggesting was that maybe in some instances, these people with the low oxygen level, I guess they didn't have ventilators for many of them, but they realized that some of these people recovered. And furthermore, some of these people, when they gave them access to these sleep apnea devices that were either the same thing or similar to what Tesla had donated, it actually helped them. And some of them had to eventually end up going on ventilators, but some of them were able to either, without being on a ventilator or using these sleep apnea devices, they were able to improve. So when I read that, I was like, whoa, here it is that there's this article that is lambasting Elon for not providing what he said he was going to do, and what you did provide is useless, kind of. That's the impression that I got. Maybe that's not what they intended, but that's what I understood from the article. And here it was, basically, and no, this is my speculation, I don't know that this is a fact or not, but could it be that Elon or someone in his company took the time to go looking for things that could actually help COVID-19 patients? And they realized, now, those are expensive ventilators. Maybe they realized, okay, it's going to take forever for us to design these ventilators. As I may have mentioned or not, I just saw a video from a nurse, and he was explaining, all the different features of ventilators and sleep breathing assisting devices. And he was looking at a video, viewing and commenting on a video by Tesla employees who were designing their own ventilators, I presume from various car parts, etc. And he was commenting to say, well, yeah, this is definitely what we use. They might need these other features. This other feature we don't really use so much, along those lines. So I thought it was really interesting to have somebody from the medical community be able to say yay or nay on the benefits of what Tesla was actually doing. That said, again, what if someone had actually gone and taken the time to see what could actually work with respect to studies that had been done in China, and coming from China, to see that, okay, it's going to take us a certain amount of time to get these ventilators ready. But in the meantime, based on this information, we can send them X, Y, and Z. It's not exactly going to be ventilators, but it can actually help. On the flip side, it could be, because I don't know how many, people in the medical community would have seen this research that's suggesting that ventilators don't help. I mean, one of the things that doctors are going to do is they're going to do what they've studied and learned about for however long. And they may or may not be paying attention to what is coming out of these different places. And maybe it is that it might color their opinion of what it is that Tesla was providing. So, but at the same time, at the end of the day, and of course it's not really going to be much of a help, because normally, these controversial things that come out, Elon is, he fudges his attempt to help or something like that. That is what grabs all the attention. Any subsequent information that might come out, if somebody even has the time to do that or the interest, with that, along the lines of like, Elon actually was able to provide what was most urgently needed based on the peculiarities of COVID-19, that somebody from his team, and maybe he even mentioned that to the hospital that he donated the stuff to. Maybe he mentioned the fact that, hey, this is what, and not him personally, of course, he doesn't do everything at the company, but maybe the people who donated it, maybe they mentioned that we realized that, hey, the patients might get some good benefit out of this, instead of moving them straight onto a ventilator, which, they have to be under anesthesia. That's how I assume they induce a coma. They have to have this thing pushed into their lungs. It might damage their lungs, all this other stuff. If you do this other procedure, that might be able to help them without being as invasive. And maybe we might be able to help a lot more people while we're waiting for us to come out with the ventilators that we promised. So it could be that all of these are factors in the end result, the unseen things that we'll never hear about, beyond the fact that Elon, whiffed, or what is it? He missed the ball, missed the net completely, or whatever the case might be. So I think that it's unfortunate, but he said he would give ventilators, and he didn't give exactly ventilators, and they cost like $50,000 a pop anyway. So I guess the story is exactly accurate, but I don't know that it actually conveys the real situation, either based on the fact that the author didn't know or understand the situation itself, or I think that's primarily it, because like I said, I might never have seen that article, except that I already had an interest in the fact that the ventilators were not working, and the fact that maybe Google provided that article to me based on the fact that I showed interest in an article that said the ventilators were not working. So, but anyway, guys, wish me lucks. You can like or unlike, comment, subscribe, and or share. Peace.